Hey there, I'm Holly. I'm a grateful alcoholic in lifelong recovery. And I'm full of 100 forms of fear right now that are all ego-based entirely. From what are people going to think about me in recovery, out of recovery, people I know, people I don't know. I should have lost weight before starting this sort of thing. The list is endless, but all it's doing is postponing me from doing what I feel called to do. So, welcome to my channel, Collapse to Calling, and it is exactly that. My life was ultimately in shambles as a result of the disease of alcoholism taking its final toll on me, and having walked through a road of recovery, thankfully with the help of my fellows. It's been a journey. It continues to be a journey. And this right here, as stumbly bumbly as it is right this moment, is my calling, undoubtedly, 100%. To be able to speak to the public, to people that would otherwise not have access to information about the disease of addiction, alcoholism, paths to recovery, options, what it looks like, obstacles. Just there, I get so many questions, and nothing makes me feel more fired up and alive than speaking on these topics. So this is my calling. Welcome to the journey, and I hope that you receive nuggets of inspiration, bits of wisdom, just whatever it is that you're meant to receive from these videos, then I hope that that purpose is served. So this business is going to be, I'm not sure how it will be set up ultimately. I initially set up an LLC, but I'm reading a book by Stanley Tam. It's called God Owns My Business, I think. Anyway, I'm going to take his initial concept. I believe what he started with initially, before he basically turned his entire business over to God, is that I intend to give 51% of any proceeds that I make through wherever this goes. I do have visions of me speaking publicly. I love to speak publicly on these matters, and currently I do so in the rooms of recovery, or at treatment centers or in jails, and that will continue to be the case, and always free of charge. There will never be any money collected for that. But I do hope to inspire and speak with corporations, schools, youth groups, anybody that is looking for a little more of an education on the disease of addiction or alcoholism. Same difference to me, and I'll get into that in some of my videos. And any proceeds that I would receive as a result of my paid work, 51% would go to, I say go to God. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for my higher power, who I do choose to call God, and that'll be a topic too. Because I can't ever forget that I didn't get here on my own. That was never gonna work. And by knowing that more of what I make is going to go out is going to keep me humble. I have to stay humble. It's just very easy for, I think, a lot of people, but definitely for alcoholics and addicts, to get independent, self-reliant, and that, again, that's all ego, which will be another topic as well. And so, yeah, I need to stay humble, and I think that's going to be a good way of doing it. And most importantly, where those proceeds are going to go are to help other people, as I was helped. Another topic we'll get to is where my road ended, which was in the hands of loving, caring entities who were run on donations or privately funded. And I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for scholarships to detox and private donations to the treatment center, if you will, that I went to. So that's where I'd like to see my money go, the 51%, to help people who would otherwise not be able to afford to go to detox or certain treatment centers, sober living. I haven't worked out yet how I'll choose where the monies will go, but those are all details that will be ironed out as I go. So again, this is a bumbly beginning, but here we are, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to post this, to be honest, because I feel like it's entirely unpolished, but I just needed to get going. I have been putting this off for quite some time, even though everything I read, everything intuitively, everything I hear from other people, like all signs point, go, do this. Again, at the risk of criticism or backlash. I mean, those are the worst case scenarios that would happen. But I hope that if I help anybody, that in my heart, that overrides any negative feedback that may occur. So in any case, I look forward to broaching so many topics, and I also welcome questions for me personally. I could say right now too that my opinions are that of my own. They're not reflective of AA, NA, CA, MA. There's lots of A's. Smart recovery, Dharma recovery. They're my opinions and my opinions alone, based on my own experience. I also can say that it's going to be a fine line between having this dialogue that I want to have to help people who would otherwise not be exposed to it, and then also working my own recovery, which is multifaceted in the way of levels of anonymity. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting, delicate dance. But I just know that I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for people putting themselves out there and planting seeds. In fact, 2 people come to mind that I had seen their pages through me perusing Instagram, and I knew of them indirectly, so they weren't famous, but they weren't personal friends of mine. And at the time that I was like really going downhill, the one guy out of nowhere put up a post that he had, I don't know, 20 or something years sober. And I was just, first of all, I just thought, wow, that's like so courageous to even put that out there, even with 20 years, which you'd think would be, bold and, a proud post, if you will. I still thought, oh my God, like you're basically like letting the world know that, that you're an alcoholic. And so that really opened my eyes to the humility really of this whole thing. Then there was also a girl who I would check out her small business page, and at some point she shared a story about before starting her business, being in the restaurant business and having gotten out of control with substances. And I just, again, was just like jaw dropped that she would be speaking so publicly about, at a minimum, bad behavior, but what it did for me, somebody who was so at that point entirely unwilling to admit for sure out loud, and definitely not to myself, that I had an issue that I was probably not going to be able to solve on my own. It gave me hope, period. It gave me hope that I wasn't alone. It definitely gave me comfort that there were other people that were willing to bare their souls, good, bad, and ugly, just to give me something to internally chew on and digest that I could relate to. Again, will be another topic as far as like the stages of contemplation, right? It took a long time for me to it's taken a long time to get to where I am, and I know I still have a long way to go in other aspects of my recovery, but it took a long time to get to the final day of putting the last drink down, which will be another story, because I can tell you right now that I did not know that the last day that I had a drink was going to be the last day that I had a drink, because I don't know that anybody really ever does. Honestly, if we're being honest with ourselves, we don't, because no one can honestly, I'm going to try to keep my statements to me and my experience. And so maybe I should just do that. Okay, so I can honestly say that I have no idea if my last drink was my last drink, because I just don't know. I just know that if I do today what I did yesterday, then I'm gonna go to bed tonight happy, sober, peaceful, and full of purpose. And if I wake up tomorrow and do the same thing again tomorrow, I'm gonna have almost guaranteed the same result tomorrow night. So that's how it goes for me. In the rooms of recovery, there are slogans or cliches, and a big one is one day at a time, which really could be applicable to anybody regarding anything. But one day at a time is so imperative for anybody trudging a road of recovery in the beginning and even throughout recovery. But the deal is that I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. I didn't know what tomorrow was going to bring in the beginning. I still don't know what tomorrow is going to bring now. And I just know that if I do certain things today, if I did certain things in the beginning, then I was going to make it through another day. And that has been the result. And I look forward to sharing some of those tools and tips and resources with you guys for what it's worth to you. I can tell you that I just have lived experience. I'm not unique. I'm not special. I am not, I'm not an expert by any means. I'm probably pretty guaranteed to say something that someone or some people will disagree with. And on the flip side of that, you know, I may not agree with some other opinions out there, but I do have a pretty open mind, because I also know that it's not one size fits all. That's what I remind myself of. The minute I think that, you know, my way is the only way, then again, it's the ego coming into play, and then my mind snaps shut to being able to be a vessel to be of service to others. So hopefully anything I say leads you to a path of your own personal recovery, or if you're a loved one with someone who's struggling, then hopefully you'll receive a little bit of hope and direction. And again, I'm gonna mention resources that are not me. I'm just here to potentially be a guide, if you will. Again, a source of inspiration, maybe just one source of information. But there are resources, and the most common ones that we all hear of are AA and Al-Anon. And so if you're seeking a path of recovery or curious, that would be a good place to start, AA. And then if you're a loved one and just can't figure out how to live through the mayhem that we bring to the family, then Al-Anon would be a really great resource to check out. And I believe it's aa.org and alanon.org. There's meetings all over the place, and those are really two good starting points. So yeah. So this is my first fumbly bumbly video to say that I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for the time that you've taken to, if you've gotten this far, listen to this video and Let me know what you want to hear. Otherwise, I'm just going to start discussing topics that are questions that I get frequently from people all the time whenever this conversation comes up out and about. And I look forward to sharing my passion with you. Again, it is what was a collapse for me has turned into a calling, and I hope that it inspires you to do the same, because the end of the road is the beginning of something very brand new. It does not have to be the dead end of the road. It actually could be the bright side to new beginnings, for sure, for sure. Don't doubt that. Don't underestimate that. And if you do, stick around. I hope to help you get there in one way or another. Thanks for checking me out. Appreciate any subscribes, likes, comments, etc. Love you guys. God bless you guys. Talk soon. Bye.